Okay, hello everybody, and welcome to our team Zoom. My name is Harlequin Murray. I am your co-host this evening, and I am the person who gets to go and welcome all the new people here. I hope you are excited to join us. I know we are excited to have you join us. So anyways, just to let everybody know, Ellen Winn is our team leader. Unless you were invited from an outside group, most everybody here is on Ellen's team. She is my sponsor, so some of you are also on my team, some are not. But for those of you who have not joined us before, just to give you a little bit of Ellen's background, she is originally from a suburb of Atlanta, Georgia called Dallas. And she grew up on a farm out there. Absolutely gorgeous farm. But she, whenever she got out of school, she went into the restaurant industry, worked in that industry for many, many years. She ended up working for Domino's Pizza and was a regional director and a training director for them. And she ended up opening up her own restaurant, not at Domino's. It was her own personal restaurant and had a couple of locations. So she's been a business owner for, gosh, I think it's been about 25 years now. And so she knows where business owners are coming from. She's been in their shoes before. But anyway, she ended up being introduced to network marketing and has been doing that for quite a while. Whenever I met her, she was actually a national training director for the network marketing company that we were a part of. And so she's got a lot of experience with recruiting teams, building teams, and has had thousands and thousands and thousands of people that have benefited from her training. And we are super fortunate to have her training us. She is one of the top agents in DAC, and we are very fortunate to have her. She's an area director. But without further ado, I'm going to let Miss Ellen Winn take it away.
Thank you, Harlequin. I appreciate that. And welcome, everybody. Glad you're here tonight. As Harlequin said, if this is the first time that you're here, welcome. We're glad to have you. DAC is booming and you're here at the perfect time. We're going through some transitions with some technology, so maybe a little bit bumpy here and there, but I kind of look at it as if we're remodeling. If you've ever remodeled a house or an apartment or somewhere that you've lived, or if you've ever moved before, you know, there's a transition phase of going out of the old and getting into the new and getting everything situated just the way you want it. And that's kind of where we are right now. But what that means is that we are positioned to just explode here in the first quarter of 2023. So glad you're here tonight. Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule on a Monday night to join us. Whether you're watching us live or you're watching this on a replay, kudos to you for taking time to invest in your business. Harlequin, I appreciate you so much introducing me and being my running partner here every week as we do these team Zooms together. I couldn't do it without you. I appreciate all the kind of things that you always say, and we're going to take that to another level tonight with our training, because I'm going to go through the trust, respect triangle and how you can use a three-way call to really explode your business and help get business clients on board with us. But first, I want to get us started in screen share mode and go through the team recognition as I do every week. This is we're seeing numbers going back up since our holidays and since the transition with our new software. So I'm glad to see that. But our DAC superhero there on the front screen, I love that. That's from our Super Saturday workbook. But with no further ado, let's get into who the top recruiters are for the week. And this is for the week of the 9th through the 15th. I believe last week I had the wrong date on there. I ended on the 9th, which was Monday. It should, last week's leaderboard ended on the 8th, which was Sunday. So this leaderboard is Monday through Sunday, the 9th through the 15th. In first place, we had Felix Cordero with 4 new agents, and tied in first place was Jessica Saxton with 4 new agents. So congratulations to Felix and Jessica. In second place, we had a 2-way tie there as well with Annette Blanchard and Lisa Campbell, each having 3 new agent recruits. In third place, we had a 3-way tie with myself, Jay Plummer, and Rosina Marie Inc., each with 2 new agent recruits. Now, we had a lot of people that had 1 new agent to get on this leaderboard and be recognized by name. You had to have at least 2 new agents join your team for the week. But all in all, we had 27 people this past week who had at least 1 new agent recruit, for a total of 40 new agents overall. So great job. Glad to see those numbers going back up in the right direction. So thank you all for taking time and paying attention to the numbers as you're inviting new people to take a look at the new DAC. So tomorrow night, we've got a big training. You want to go ahead and clear your calendar now. Make sure that you're planning on attending this tomorrow night at 8 p.m. We're going to have from Bank Breezy, our funding partner, we're going to have Wade Cordell come on, and he's going to go through 3 new funding programs that will go live tomorrow. By the time the training is announced, we should have all 3 of those programs live on our website. We'll have training collateral, and then of course the training tomorrow night will be recorded. So we'll have everything that you need to know about the new funding platform. So it's super exciting there. That'll be tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern time at daczoom.com. I'll be sending out this recorded replay along with the replay from today's leadership Zoom, and I'll send out details about that. So you'll have a hard copy of it in your email for tomorrow. You can go in and click on the link. Also dial in instructions as well. But tomorrow's a big night. We're bringing on some new funding products. Every time we bring on a new program, when we first added the online application sequence that we see now with Biddy Advance, we had a tremendous spike in funding because everybody got excited about a new product and started talking to more people. When we added Giggle as our funding partner, where we could fund the self-employed and gig workers, our numbers went through the roof because it created more conversations, right? Doesn't mean that the number of clients getting funded through Giggle went up. It meant that the number of conversations in general where agents were talking about our funding products went up. The conversations did. So therefore, the word got out to the right people because of more conversations. And that's why I want to talk about the trust, respect triangle tonight, because we've got to learn how to have conversations with people to start having success with our business. But back to being excited about this launch, I know when we announced the line of credit, our numbers spiked again because we had a new product to talk about. And it's always great when you add a new product to the lineup. It's always a great opportunity to go back to everybody that you've already talked to and say, hey, I just wanted to touch base with you. We have just launched a new product that I wanted to share some information with you about. And if you didn't write down what I just said, you need to grab a pen and paper right now, because I'm telling you, what we're covering tonight is going to be covered with golden nuggets about building your business, right? So again, a new product launch gives you an opportunity to call people back that you've already talked to about funding and say, hey, I just want to check in with you and let you know that we just launched a new product that might be a good fit for you, or that you might know someone that could benefit from, right? So it's a good opportunity to circle back around. But every time we launch a new product, numbers go through the roof. When we launched the ERC program, numbers have gone through the roof with the number of conversations. And way back last year, DAC was doing the PPP loans when that program was still available as part of the COVID CARES Act, and the number of conversations that skyrocketed because of PPP was amazing. So I can't wait to see what happens to your business and the DAC business as a whole as we launch these 3 new categories. We're doing something that we've never done before. One of those products is launching funding in Canada. We're launching a asset-backed funding program, and we're launching equipment financing. Okay. Now don't get into some deep Q&A with me tonight, because I really don't know any more than you do if you've been paying attention to the Zooms. other than we'll learn everything we need to know tomorrow night. And what I just said about things will be live, and we'll have the training collateral and the quick reference guides tomorrow night. Okay. So what I want to do is get into the trust, respect triangle. And what this is a demonstration of how people trust each other because of relationships, right? Based on relationships, you have people in your life that if something were going on right now and you needed to buy a car, think about this. If you needed to buy a car, we're looking at new cars. Is there somebody in your life that you might reach out to and say, hey, I'm thinking about buying a new car. Can you give me some advice? Right? You've probably got that person, whether it's a new car or whether you're looking for a good movie to go to, you've got a go-to person in your life that you trust for advice on certain things, right? Well, the trust, respect triangle is kind of going to lead you in that same direction, but it's about us having conversations about our business. And instead of you calling people that trust you, I want you to think about when you make phone calls to people on your warm market list. And what is your warm market? Your warm market is people that you have a relationship with, all right? You either know them really well or they know who you are. So if you call them up and introduce yourself on the phone, said, by name, hey, Joe, this is Ellen Winn, just touching base with you. How are you doing? And start the conversation. If I called someone and maybe I don't know Joe real well, but Joe knows my name, or I can relate and say, hey, Joe, it's Ellen Winn from the Chamber of Commerce. You and I met last week at First Friday Vibes, right? Then there's this connection. So it's a warm connection, right? So that's what I'm talking about in the trust there, where you reach out to someone that knows you because of a warm relationship, either a friend, family member, or referral from someone that have a commonality with, or someone that you've recently met and they've seen you in a business setting and would understand who you are. So let's go through the trust, respect triangle, and you can draw this out on a piece of paper and make some notes as you go. So here you are at the top of the triangle. You're the one originating the calls and being the one that's reaching out to contact someone. And that someone is a prospect, whether this is a prospect for the business opportunity with coming on as a business partner with us, or whether this is a prospect that you want to talk to about our services, about funding, about the ERC program, about line of credit or payment processing, right? Or healthcare. Whatever you're calling them about, they are your prospect. And because this is a warm market contact that and they know your name, they have a trusted relationship with you, right? You're not just some stranger calling them out of the blue, and they're not going to say, oh, go away, and feel like they're getting a sales call. There's a trusted relationship with you already because they've established knowing who each other is, right? But a lot of times when we talk to someone that we know, especially if it's someone that we really know well and has known us for years. Let me give you an example. I came from the restaurant industry, as Harlequin shared. And when I first got started in a different industry, it was kind of strange for me to talk to people, my warm market, and talk to them about this business that I had gotten started outside of the pizza restaurant industry or pizza industry, because that's what they had always known. So they trusted me, they knew me, but I wasn't their expert. So in that being said, you want to be able to bring on a third person into the conversation that is your expert, right? Somebody outside of you that you can refer and you can edify to your prospect. And what do I mean by edify? Okay. You got the warm relationship over here. Now you're bringing an expert on the line. Maybe before the call even starts, if you've already queued this up and your expert, hint DAC, team partner, upline team leader, or myself, whoever it is that you're doing calls with, you're going to edify this person to your prospect. You may have them on the line ahead of time, or you may just queue them up and dial them as it goes, because there are going to be a couple of different situations here. But what happens is let's say that I'm talking to my prospect and I'm going to use Harlequin as my expert in this example. Let's say that I'm calling Joe, and Joe is my friend. He runs a heating and air company, right? And I'm going to call Joe up and I'm going to say, hey, Joe, it's Ellen Winn. How you doing? Checking in, got this going. Hey, listen, I wanted to touch base and talk to you about a program that my company is doing. I'm pretty new. I just got started, but I think it might be of benefit to you. I wanted to see if you had a moment to talk to someone that's more knowledgeable, right? That way I could queue up the expert, or I might be in the conversation and I'm talking to Joe and I know enough from reading, going through the training, and I know my scripts, and I might lead off the conversation and say, hey, Joe, it's Ellen Winn. How are you doing? Joe's great. Listen, I want to ask you a couple of questions. I know you guys survived COVID, but was your business impacted by COVID? Were you able to get any of those COVID relief stimulus packages from the government? And then Joe starts talking. Joe says, oh yeah, we got the PPP money, and we got an EIDL loan too. And I say, oh, that's great. Those stimulus programs really helped a lot of businesses survive. Were you guys able to get the employee retention tax credit, the payroll tax credit that gave you up to $2,600 per W-2 employee that you kept on payroll? I don't know about that one. Now, what's that one? Well, I know enough, right? I'm new, but I've read my script. So here's my pitch to Joe. And I'll say, well, Joe, the ERC is a program that when that COVID CARES Act was initially launched, businesses could either get the PPP money or could get the employee retention credit. But later on, regulations changed. Now they made it where even if you got PPP money, you can still get that ERC money, right? And then Joe starts asking me questions. I'm going, those are great questions, Joe, but I'm kind of new at this, so I don't want to give you any wrong information. If you've got a second, I'd like to get my one of my business partners, Harlequin, on the line. I know I talked to her right before I called you, and she should be available. Can I get her on the line to answer some questions for you? Joe says, yeah, sure, not a problem. So I'm going to reach out to Harlequin. Now, the key here is that you know how to use your phone and you know how to do a three-way call. If you don't know how to do a three-way call and bring somebody else in on the line, you need to Google how to do a three-way call on iPhone 9 or Note 10 or whatever phone model you have, right? I promise you, there's a video out there on YouTube that it shows how to do a call on whatever device you have, how to add a third person onto the call. You want to practice that before you try to do a three-way call and do the edification with your expert. But I am very good at three-way calls, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say, okay, Joe, hold on just a minute. Let me see if I can get Harlequin on the line. So I'm going to do add call, and then I'm queuing up Harlequin. She's in my speed dial, or I've got her number written down, so it's really easy to access the number I'm dialing. I ring Harlequin in, and when she answers the phone, I'm going to say, Harlequin, hey, it's Ellen. Did I catch you at a good time, or is now still a good time? And Harlequin says, yep, I want to make sure that she's got her plate cleared and I'm not trying to pull her away from another call. And that's always a good thing to ask when you're calling anyone about business. Always ask, have I caught you at a good time? Because sometimes people just start unloading on you. You may have answered the call and had 30 seconds to talk, but they start unloading and you're going, wait, I can't talk right now, right? So verify and clarify that you've still got good time, right? So Harlequin says, yes, I do. I get Harlequin on the line. I connect. Now I've got Joe and Harlequin both on the line. I'd already told Joe that Harlequin is one of my business partners or a team leader here in the field, or one of my field trainers. However I position her. Now I've got both of them on the phone. I'm going to say, Joe, are you still there? Joe says, yes. And I go, Harlequin, I have you. Yes, confirming I have both on the line. Say, let me take 1 second to introduce you to, and then I'm going to let you talk, Harlequin. Joe, this is Harlequin Murray. I've been working with her now for however length of time with DAC. She's been with the company for over 3 years, and she is truly an expert on anything that you need to know about our conversation here about the employee retention credit. So Harlequin, Joe and I have been friends for 5 years. He runs a heat and air company here in my local community, and I had asked him, did he get the ERC money? He got PPP, he got the EIDL, but he doesn't believe they got ERC, and he's got a few questions. All right, so Harlequin, I'm going to let you take the call over from here. Now, what I did was I had already set Joe up for who Harlequin is, right? She's my team leader or my field trainer. And then when Harlequin got on the phone, I edified her, right? Edification is building Harlequin or building your expert up to be the expert in your prospect's eyes. So I built her up saying, she's been working with me, she's been helping me, and she's been with our company for a long time. I said 3 years, right? So she really knows everything there is to know about the products that you and I were just talking about. So I built her up as the expert. Now, my trusted relationship with Joe, I don't have to be the expert. Joe didn't know me as someone in the funding space. Joe knew me from being in the pizza business, right? So now Joe is all ears to whatever Harlequin has to say, because I just made Harlequin the expert about this product. Okay. And I also, note this, I also told Harlequin what my conversation had been. Now, I could have had that conversation with Harlequin when I did the three-way connection before I tied both of them together, but I like doing that in front of each other so that Joe hears what I'm telling Harlequin, right? So I let Harlequin know the questions that had been asked and where we got to. So she's kind of got a quick recap of what's going on with this person that she is about to talk to. I've made the introduction. I've set Harlequin up for what to expect. Joe knows who Harlequin is. Now I'm going to say, okay, you two, I'm going to let you guys talk, and I'm just going to mute out here. Very important. If you are inviting someone onto the call, you've been pointed them out as the expert. Now is the opportunity for you to sit back, listen, and take notes. Okay? Because I promise you, you're going to learn something valuable listening to a team leader doing a call with you. They're going to answer questions, and they're going to take a client down a path that's going to be beneficial for you to learn from that conversation. You sit back and take notes. I'm going to let Harlequin do the talking. At the end of when Harlequin finishes up the call, she may say, okay, Ellen, so looks like here's your next step, Joe. I'm going to have Ellen send you her link directly to the tax credit page of her website, right? So Harlequin is going to instruct me in the middle of telling the client what is about to happen, right? So that's really all there is to happening with a call. So guys, here's the simplicity of this. And if you want to take a screenshot of this, or hopefully you've got the notes on this by now, I'm going to stop screen share. Here's the simplicity of the trust, respect triangle and learning how to do a three-way call. The difficult part for you is to make that initial reach out, but understand, if you'll make that initial reach out and start a conversation with a client, it gets easier every single time. And you don't have to be the expert when you're just getting started. You bring that third party expert online, do a good job of edifying them, connecting, and then learning in process. You know, one of the things I get from time to time is new agents that'll say, hey, I've got so-and-so, can you call them for me? And my response is always the same. It is, I'm happy to talk to your prospect, but I need you on the line when I make that call. Why is that? Well, if I'm going to make calls for anybody and everybody, and I'm just dialing your client, you're not learning anything in the process, right? But if you're on the phone with me when I am calling people, or we're calling someone together, then you're taking the initiative, and then you're learning in the process by being on the phone as I talk to a client. And I promise you, the conversations that I have are a lot easier than most of you think. I know it's David said today on our leadership Zoom, it's about making calls and getting good at calls. We're going to be rolling out some systems now that are going to expect you to be taking inbound calls. And guys, if you really want to make big money here with DAC, you got to be willing to use the phone and talk to people. Okay. I'm gonna tell you a real quick story, and then we're going to do some three-way role plays here. Quick story is my first funded client. I had been handing out cards, and I had posted some things on Google. I really don't know for sure where this client came from, because I was so nervous when they called me. I forgot to ask, right? So I didn't ask how they found me. But here's what happened. When my phone rang one day, totally out of the blue, I knew it was a business call because I have a separate phone line. I actually have two phone lines, but really one is all you need. I have an 800 number because I do some stuff outside of my home city, and I just want to make it look like we're a bigger company than we are my home-based DAC agency. But I have a local number. I use Sideline, which is available through the Google Play Store, probably on the iPhone store as well, Apple Store. But Sideline's like $7.99 a month. It gives me a freestanding business line, and it rings into, it's an app on my phone. It rings in on my cell phone. So I've always got that with me. But when that line rings, I know it's a call about David Allen Capital. So my phone rang one day. I was pretty new in the business. I was 8 months in the business at the time. I had been building a team, really had not had a ton of conversations with business owners because I wasn't focused on DAC. I was building my limousine company, right? But the day that my phone rang, at that time, I was living in a 2-story house. And I remember so clearly, I was downstairs in my house. My office was upstairs. And when my phone rang, saw it was a business call, and I answered. And I'd answered many business calls because a lot of times people would call me and they weren't a candidate for what we had to offer, right? But this particular call came in, and I answered the phone like I always do. Thanks for choosing DAC. This is Ellen. How can I help you? Okay, I'm not pretending to be David Allen Capital. It's thanks for choosing DAC. They chose me over anybody else that they could have possibly called, right? So thanks for choosing DAC. This is Ellen. How can I help you? And she started asking me questions about our funding. Well, as I talked for a minute, I'm going, oh my gosh, I didn't have my notes in front of me. I was pretty new, and I'm going, okay, I don't want to flub this. So I thought, okay, let me ask her some questions and get her talking about her business while I'm getting up to my desk, right? So I just started questions like this, and I'm going, well, thanks for calling. How are you? Who am I speaking with? Got her name, and I'm going, great. Amanda, tell me a little bit about your business. How long have you guys been in business? And I've got her telling me a story as I'm walking up to my office, because I know the basics. I need to know how long they've been in business, how much revenue they're doing, and are they operating through a business checking account, right? Those are the 3 basics. They were the 3 basics then and the 3 basics today. A few of the basics. She started telling me how long she'd been in business. By the time I got to my desk, I knew how long she'd been in business. She qualified. Their monthly revenue was about $200,000 a month. Definitely qualified and definitely operating through a business checking account. And I said, well, by the time I got there, I said, how much is it that you're looking for? And she said, we need about $200,000. Check, that one qualified as well. So I opened up the computer browser, and I opened up my David Allen Capital website. And any question that she asked me, it was right there in front of me on the webpage. Okay. So that was my calming piece, to be able to talk to this prospect that just called me out of the blue, those basic questions. And then after I had asked her the basic qualifiers, I said, well, based on your answers, it sounds like you would possibly qualify for funding. The next steps to get this moving along is to get you to fill out an application on our website. And by the way, how fast do you need that money? And she said, we could use it this week if we could get qualified. And I'm going, great. We have quick turnaround capital. Now, I'm not the expert. I'm not the underwriting team, but as soon as you fill out an application on our website, that's going to take you over to our underwriting team, and they'll be able to take a look at your documents really quickly and start getting you some offers on this. Do you have access to your last 3 months bank statements? And I'm still talking, right? I got her to say yes to all that. I said, you just need 3 months bank statements, copy of your driver's license, and a copy of a voided check. And she said, yeah, I got that. So she uploaded it. But in that, I didn't have to use a third party, but I used a third party tool, which was the website, right? So you've got a website, and you also have the quick reference guides that are there in our Agent Resource Center. So you've got this, got everything that you need. I see some of you on the calls week in and week out. You've got in your head and in your heart and in your mind the right answers for your client. Right now, it's a matter of taking those steps to start having conversations with clients. But guys, that call that came in that day ended up being $150,000 funding. And that was my first client ever. I still have the check, because back then we had paper checks. I have a check for $6,750. That was my first commission with DAC, because I answered the phone. If I hadn't answered the phone, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, if I hadn't answered the phone that day, they would have called somebody else, because however they found me, they were looking to talk to somebody and ask questions. Otherwise, they would have just gone straight to my website, because they had my website information too. So again, if you really want to make big money in this business, you've got to be more than just an online marketer hoping that someone is going to go click your link, fill out the form, they get funded, and you get paid. Okay. The big money is going to come from having conversations and creating relationships. So with that said, Harlequin, let me see. I want to look for somebody real quick. There you are. Nubian. Can I get you to unmute? Brittany? Brittany, are you there? I see you in my list. Maybe you had to take a call or something. Brittany Chapman's on the call with us tonight, and I've done several three-way calls with her lately, and I just wanted her to share, if she comes back to where she can come online, I will call on her again. Paul didn't mean to click on you. Let's see, Harlequin, you and I were talking earlier about some potential three-way call partners. Who would you like to call on?
I know I had a conversation about some of this stuff earlier today with Jay Plummer, if he's available.
Is Jay on here?
He is.
I think I saw his name in the
Yes,
list.
I am.
Hey, Jay, how you doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
Doing
Nice to be on.
Excellent. So what were you guys talking about? What were you and Harlequin talking about that might be beneficial for what we're doing here tonight?
Particularly in events and how to approach business owners at events and venues. Also, how to introduce yourself, rather, just like you had said earlier, DAC agency. So we talked a little bit about, different business names and also the Chamber of Commerce, how to speak to the business leaders there. I'm a member of my local Chamber of Commerce. So she was giving me pointers and tips, and she you guys are so lucky that you have Harlequin on your team, because she is phenomenal. She is a wonderful trainer and a very, very knowledgeable person to have on your team. So if you ever need to call on anybody, I promise you, she's always been there for me and answered every question I've ever asked. So we're in good hands, guys. We're in really good hands. So
That's awesome. And yeah, Harlequin is definitely a wealth of knowledge. And she's been
yes,
in this industry for a really long time, not just DAC, but her experience doing three-way calls and helping build a team is immense. So if you
yes,
are in Harlequin's organization, you need to be using her as a resource. As
absolutely.
for the rest of you that aren't in Harlequin's team, you need to be using me as a resource. And that's why I was looking for Brittany there. So Harlequin, why don't we do a three-way call, and you guys make me the business owner, and one of you call me and do a three-way example of calling on me for, let's say, what type of business you want me to be. I'll be a restaurant. Restaurants are a great funding opportunity today, especially with the ERC. That's what I did for the longest time. So you guys decide who's making the call and who's the expert, and we'll do a little role play here.
Okay, obviously I didn't pay Jay enough, but go ahead and unmute yourself again, Jay. You got muted somehow.
Oh, I muted myself.
Yeah. Which role do you want to play?
Oh, we're
expert?
playing this. Okay, we're doing this.
We're doing this. Yes.
Okay, let's see. I will be, let me try to be the expert. What the hell? Let's give it a shot.
That's passing the buck, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay.
No. Okay, all right.
No,
Oh, so
No,
restaurant.
I'm teasing you. It's all good.
nope. You said it, Jay. You're going to be the expert.
All right, let me try this out.
Okay. So I'm going to start off by calling Ellen. And Ellen, let's just say that I've been a long time customer of your restaurant.
The two most fluent people in this business. So I have to be the expert against you two. That's phenomenal. Okay. Okay.
Hey, it was your choice.
Yeah, I don't remember signing up for that, but all right, let's do this.
Okay.
Joking.
All right. Well, setting the stage, Ellen is somebody who I've been a longtime customer of her restaurant. So we've known each other for a long time. And I've just become an agent with DAC. So I'm going to call her up. Ring, ring, Ellen.
Thanks for choosing Wynn's Pizza. This is Ellen. How can I help you?
Hey, Ellen, this is Harlequin. How are you today?
Hey, good, Harlequin. How are you doing?
Doing fabulous.
Hey, I hear you came in the other day and I wasn't here. Sorry, I missed you.
Yeah, so am I. But first off, I just want to check and make sure you've got a couple of minutes to talk, because I know you're
sure
busy
do.
with the restaurant. Okay.
No, you caught me at a good time. Thanks for asking.
Okay, good. Well, the reason I wanted to touch base with you is I am doing some new stuff. I am working with a company called DAC, and we do business funding. And we also are doing some work with ERC, and just wanted to touch base with you and see if you guys needed any funding, or if you guys, well, actually, you know what, let me backtrack for a second. Since we were talking about ERC earlier, do you want me to go on with ERC or with funding?
ERC is good.
Okay. All right. So backtracking for a second. Yeah, I started working with a company that is doing some stuff with the programs from the CARES Act. Did you guys get to take advantage of any of that, with like the PPP or EIDL or the ERC?
We got PPP money. I know that, and I'm not familiar with that other one, the other two that you mentioned. I don't think.
Okay. All right. Well, EIDL is something that, unfortunately, if you didn't get it yet, it's no longer available. but the ERC is the Employee Retention Tax Credit. And there's a lot of different things that you can, it's where you can get up to $26,000 per employee.
You
Have
know,
you-
I've been hearing something on the radio about that, and I didn't understand what they were talking about. So yeah, tell me more about that.
Okay, well, I'm going to be upfront with you. I just got started with this company. If you have just a second, I have one of my trainers that I would love, or one of my experts that can answer all of your questions for you. Would you mind if I get that person on the phone?
No, that's fine. I
Okay.
want to know more about that one.
Okay. All right. So put you on hold, call Jay. Hey, Jay, how you doing?
Hi, great, Harlequin.
All right.
What's
awesome.
cooking?
Yeah. Well, I have a really good friend of mine, Ellen Winn, on the other line.
Okay.
And she is a restaurant owner, and I wanted to, she's got some questions on ERC, and I wasn't quite sure how to answer the questions. Do you have a minute to
Sure.
talk to her?
Sure.
Okay. So hit the
Okay.
merge button on my phone so that everybody's on the line. Hey, Ellen, are you there? And Jay?
I am.
I am here.
Okay, awesome. Well, Jay, I have Ellen Winn on the line. She's the owner of Winn's Pizza. She's got a couple of locations, and she had some questions on the ERC. And
Okay.
Ellen, just so you know, Jay has been with the company for several years now. He's very knowledgeable about all of the ins and outs of the ERC, and he can answer the questions a whole lot better than I can. So Jay, I'm going to let you go and take over. I'm going to put my phone on mute so that you guys can go and talk. And, if you need me, just tell me.
Absolutely.
But go
Absolutely.
ahead and take it away.
Good evening, Miss Wynn. My name is Jay Plummer. I work with DAC. What questions did you have about ERC that Harlequin needed to refine?
Well, hey Jay, good to meet you. Well,
to
we
meet you.
really didn't get into it much because I said I had heard about that $26,000. The $26,000 really caught my attention. I'd heard about it on the
Right.
radio,
Yes.
and I asked her what it was, and she kind of defaulted to you. I don't think she wanted to give me any wrong answers. So
Okay.
I know what it is. Tell me
Okay,
how that works.
Okay, well, it's the Employee Retention Payroll Tax Credits. We're part of the CARES Act. And right now, you have a qualifying factor of each employee for $26,000. $5,000 is for the entire year of 2020, and then $7,000 per quarter of 2021 if you retained your employees and paid their wages during the COVID crisis. So basically, that's how it works in a nutshell. I can get as detailed as you wish.
So what do I need to do to get that money? How do I do that?
Okay, well, we work with a phenomenal company. We're partnered with ERC Pros. They're tax attorneys, CPAs. They've got a whole system in place to basically upload your documents through an app process. All of your documents will be uploaded, your 941s, your P&L statements, your bank statements, all the things that your CPA or your payroll people have. Okay, and it's real simple to get those documents uploaded to these people. They can actually connect with payroll software, most of them on the market today. They can connect directly to them and get that stuff all uploaded with ease from your payroll people. So all that, that's all that's required, and then they'll go over it with a fine tooth. They'll see if you got your PPP and all of the other things that were available to you.
Yeah, I got the PPP money. We actually got two rounds of that, and both of them were forgiven.
Yep, that's fine. You can still have your PPP and be eligible for ERCs. So that's not a problem. Some of that PPP will probably be deducted off of the total of your ERC value, but Typically, we're seeing anywhere between $10,000 and $11,000 per employee pretty regularly. Some get more, some get less.
But I thought you said I could get 26.
You could get up to 26. And what's happens is those ERC pros do all of the deductions and they understand the taxes, and they have tax attorneys that figure all of this out depending on your the regulations you had in place, all the mandates and all of that stuff that affected your business, and they take all of that stuff into consideration, and that turns into a number. And I don't know how the tax attorneys do it, but that's but you are eligible up to 26.
Okay. Well, how much is this going to cost me?
Well, it's free to apply and see. So you can upload all of your documents to the app process. They'll tell you if you're eligible or not. Basically, from the first 3 or 4 questions, they're going to determine whether you're eligible. And then once you are eligible, they'll have your documents uploaded, and they will do all of the calculations and give you a number. And typically, we're charging 20% of anything that is funded back to you.
So I paid the 20%. When do I have to do that?
That's only if you get funded. You pay the 20%. Now you can pay up front if you wish, and that will lower the 20% down to approximately 17.5%, 18%, anywhere between there. So it is cheaper to actually pay in advance, but you don't have to. You can pay once you're funded and got the approval from the IRS.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess I need to get with my accountant, maybe.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And have them connect with Harlequin. And once Harlequin and them connect, they'll be directed to an app sequence, an app process online. And that's how it's done, just right through online. It's very fast.
Okay. Well, it's online, so I don't know. I don't work with my accountant all the time, just like quarterly sending stuff over. So
That's
maybe
fine.
they
Just
can.
you give her a ring and tell her to expect a call from Harlequin, and then Harlequin and your payroll accountant will take care of the rest.
Okay. Well, wow, this sounds too good to be true almost. If I could get 26, I had like 30 employees that I kept on through all of COVID when we had to change our whole model and all of that. That would be awesome if I could get that kind of money back.
That would be phenomenal. If you get all of the 26,000, that would be phenomenal.
Yeah, it would.
Yes, that would definitely help your business. Might even open up another location.
Yeah, that would be great too. Okay, awesome. Well, so what I need to do besides connecting those two? Harlequin, are you going to send me something?
That's it. Harlequin will take care of sending you the link to give to your CPA, and then they can take it from there.
Harlequin, are you still with me?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll send you the link.
Okay. Do you know where to send it to?
Yes, I have your email.
Don't you want to verify that email that it's right?
Yes, you're right. Okay. Yeah. Now I'm assuming, are you going to be doing this on your phone or on your desktop or laptop?
I'll probably do it on my computer so I can see everything.
So then I'll send it via email rather than text, so that you can have the exact, and you can just click on it that way.
Okay.
But yeah, what is your email address?
Okay, it's use the one here for the restaurant, info@winnspizza.com.
Okay. All right. I will get that sent out to you.
Okay. Awesome. Well,
was
one other
terrible.
thing I meant to ask, and I don't know if Jay's still there or not, but how long does this take to get money get back? He's talking about funded. Is this a loan or?
No, this is not a loan, and this is right from the U.S. Treasury. It is part of the CARES Act that was given to forgive businesses, and help them out through the COVID crisis. Typically, to figure out if you qualify or not, these ERC pros, our partners, ERC pros, it takes about 2 to 3 weeks for them to go through all of the documentation, make sure all the I's and T's are crossed. And then once they have that, then they submit that to the IRS. Now, the IRS is a government agency, and you know how government agencies work. It's probably going to take anywhere between 3 to 5 months. 3 months is a quick turnaround. 5 months is pretty much the farthest it's going to get. So you would see your money within that time frame.
Okay, and then I don't have to pay y'all anything until I have
Right.
that at the end.
Exactly. The 20% on the back end or 18% on the front. So it's just your decision on that one.
Okay, awesome. Well, let's do this.
That's rock and roll.
Great. Awesome. Well, thank you, Harlequin. Thank you so much for telling me about this. I would not have known about it otherwise.
Awesome.
Yep. A lot of people don't.
Awesome. Well, good talking to you, Jay. Thank you.
All right.
Yes, ma'am. Okay,
Thank you,
so
Jay.
that was terrible. Did I give too much info?
If I can critique you,
Yes, please do.
I would get, and you did a great job. Both of you did. I personally give a much higher overview of it, higher level, further back level overview of it, keeping it simple. Everything that you covered, Jay, the breakdown of the quarterly and all of that, that's on the website. And if they need those specific details,
Okay.
they can look at it and kind of analyze. But I usually find that when I get into too much detail, some people they're either glossed over or they're thinking too much about it. So I just go into the, I actually, as a pre-qualifier, I ask the questions that they're going to answer on the website. So this money is available up to $26,000. Even if you got the PPP money, right? Did you have W-2 employees that you kept on payroll during 2020 and 2021? That's one of the qualifying questions, right?
Yes.
So I ask that, and if they say yes, I'll say, great, then you're most likely going to qualify. Let me ask you a couple of other things. Were you impacted by COVID? Like, did you have a reduction in revenue? That's another question on the website, right? And they'll say yes or no. And the next thing that I ask is really important, because you want to get your business owner to think about this. You guys may have heard me say this before, but my first 2 warm market applicants to the ERC both answered the questions wrong and came back after I followed up with them. They said, yeah, we didn't qualify. And I'm going, what do you mean you didn't qualify? You got the PPP, right? And they said, yeah. And they said, yeah, I didn't qualify, I guess because we made more money than we did the previous year. So I guess that was the disqualifier. And I'm going, well, that doesn't necessarily. And I had to break it down for the business owner. So if you'll ask those pre-qualifying questions over the phone and get them to think about it, that's really all I do, instead of getting into the minutiae quarter by quarter. Okay. So ask those questions, because here's what happened. When I went back through the questions, I said, okay, you had W-2 employees, and these are the 2 people that said they didn't qualify. I said, let's go back through those questions and confirm what you answered. I said, you did have employees, right? Oh yeah, we had employees. And did you have higher or lower revenue than the previous year? Oh no, we had higher revenue. I think that's more disqualified. And I said, well, the next question is whether you were impacted by COVID or not. So think about this. Over the course of COVID, the restrictions there, did you have to change how you dealt with customers? Could they continue coming into your business? Did you have to change your face-to-face or limit the number of customers? And then both of them started unloading on me with how they remember this happening and this happening. And one of them, his son was in the background, and he goes, Dad, remember we had to shut down all of these offsite events that we were able to do. COVID, they wouldn't let us do the offsite events, and those were some of our most profitable events. So now that I'm having that conversation, digging a little bit deeper on the pre-qualifying questions, their light bulb went off, and they're going, oh yeah, I guess we were impacted by COVID. And I said, okay, here's what you need to do. You need to go back to the link I sent you and start over. Just make sure when you answer those questions, when it gets to the COVID related impact, make sure you answer yes, because that's one of the pre-qualifiers. So I think if you'll, and I'm saying this from having gone through that initially and running into that pothole, to try to help all of you prevent that pothole. And if you'll ask those qualifying questions on the front end, and then tell that client as you go through the form, make sure you answer this question yes, if you know, whichever one on the pre-qualifying conversation you have. That way they'll get on through that and won't get the sorry you don't qualify like my first two did. Now, an example that I just gave on the Sun, say in the offsite events, that client called me a couple of weeks ago and he said, Ellen, I just wanted to call you and thank you. He said, we just got notification today that over $34,000 back. And he was so excited, right? And I was so excited for them because they're a mom and pop business. They it's totally family operated, and to know that I helped make that kind of impact on that business owner, not getting them a loan that they got to pay back. I got them money that they'd already paid in, and this is a refund back from the IRS. He's just super ecstatic about it. So it's really a good thing there. But Harlequin, good job on that, on the being the calling me and tying in the prospect, and good demonstration there on the three-way call too. So Jay, thank you. And I was teasing,
I'll get better.
kind of taking the easy way out, but you really had the hard part because you had to be the expert there in the end.
I know, that's why I tried it. I want
That's why you tried to backpedal.
Yeah.
Like you said, yeah.
Yep. And you know, when I'm doing calls, I always try to make that call simple so that it's something that that business owner can relate to, because we end up being in our business and in our profession, it's easy for us to have our daily lingo, the ERC or the ERTC and all these acronyms that the average person may not know what the heck you're talking about, right? So I open up the conversation initially. If I'm talking about the employee retention credit, I usually will ask, you know, if I'm calling someone that I know, I'm calling and saying, hey, you guys were open during COVID, right? Yep. Were you guys able to take advantage of some of those government stimulus programs like the PPP money and so on? And they go, oh yeah. And then they start telling you what they got, right? And I'll say, were you able to take advantage of the EIDL loan? I ask about that because they got PPP that can be forgivable. The EIDL loan had to be paid back. And I want to know how broad their knowledge is about the CARES Act program. And then once they say the EIDL, after the PPP, if they got the ERC money, they'll usually tell you because it's such a big boost in what they can get. But then I lead in after those two CARES Act program, I'll say, well, what about the employee retention tax credit? Were you able to get that where you got up to $26,000 per employee back? And that's where they're going to go, oh yeah, we got that. Because I had a business owner that I asked that and he goes, oh yeah, we got that. And I said, are you sure we're talking about the same one? This was where they looked at your quarterly by quarter payroll. And he goes, oh yeah, we got that. And he said, we got so much money back, I was ashamed to tell anybody. And I'm going, really? How much did you get? And he said, $350,000. And he was whispering, right? Like it was illegal or something. And unfortunately, guys, that's a misconception on the ERC program, because I can't tell you, the more I have conversations about the ERC, the more people that I run into going, oh yeah, my CPA told me I don't qualify, or my CPA told me I don't need to file for that. You know, there's just a lot of misinformation in the marketplace, but that money is real. It is a refund. It is a tax credit rebate that the client gets back in the form of a check from the IRS. And it's our job to be out here communicating that, whether they listen to us and whether they allow us to get the right information over to them or not, that's on them. But the onus is on us as DAC agents to communicate and not hold on to this information that we know, and have the, I believe, have the responsibility of sharing in our local business community. How would you feel if someone that you knew had a secret that could have made your life better and they didn't tell you about it, and then later on you found out that they could have told you this secret that would have made an impact? You'd be mad at your friend, right? Don't let people be mad at you for not telling them about the ERC program and them finding out later that you knew about this and probably could have helped them get a bunch of money back, and you didn't open your mouth to tell them. So that's what I want to share with that is, do you see if Brittany is on here? Brittany Chapman, are you online where you can talk?
Yeah, and Ellen, just a couple of quick things.
Yeah, sure.
On tips. When somebody has said that they have gotten PPP, they are not going to be eligible for the full 26,000 per employee. So
Sure.
just let them know that up front.
Yeah. But you don't have to get into the weeds on it. Just say,
Right.
you may have a reduction in what you're eligible for because you've already received part of that money. But I do a high level, not getting too much into the details, because the deeper we dive into the details, the more questions it leads to. And I want to get them over to the experts. One other thing I want to point out, Jay, you mentioned the CPA team name. I never give them the name of our CPAs. I don't want them trying to go directly to the CPA to see, just to go through them and bypass me as an agent or someone on my team. I just say our CPA team rather than naming them by name. I'll just say, we have a team of expert CPAs that are focused entirely on the ERC program. Them, along with our tax attorneys, they're going to review everything, dot all the I's, cross all the T's to get you every dollar that you are legally, morally, and ethically eligible for. So I like those three words: legally, morally, and ethically.
Thank you, Ellen.
Yeah, you bet.
I will definitely take these tips. I did get way too in the weeds there. I apologize.
No, it's okay. And it's part of learning experience. And kudos to you. I know Harlequin kind of threw you in the fire there, but I really appreciate your willingness to come on and be a partner in this. And I know I've seen you speak so many times on Team Zooms asking questions. I know you just went through and are going through the Eric Worre training. And it is a process there. So I really appreciate your willingness to participate in that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bet. You bet. Okay. Any questions before we start wrapping up here? Anything in the chat that we need to address, Harlequin? I've got Ray with a hand up, with a hand down.
Yeah, somebody was asking a question about giggle fundings and when those are going to be paid from last month. And they'll be paid this week. David should be receiving that file tonight in tonight's processing. So he should have that to everybody by the end of the week.
And on that, remember, Giggle is now going to go to a weekly payout. So when
I was about to say that.
Yeah, when we get our January commission from December, then it'll be a weekly payout moving forward. Good stuff.
Yeah, and that is the only question that I have seen in the chat so far.
Okay, I'm going to ask Ray to unmute. Hey, Ray, how are you tonight?
Good evening, Ellen. How you doing?
Good. Thank you.
I have a question. So I know that David had mentioned about us doing Canada soon. So will we also, if someone is from Canada that's interested in becoming a funding agent, they can sign up through us as well?
They can sign up today as an agent. Yeah, we've been taking on agents that live in Canada for some time, so they can go ahead and sign up as a partner. We've also had payment processing live in Canada. The funding that's coming on tomorrow will be the newest aspect of our expansion into Canada.
Okay. That's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you. Thanks for the question. Hey,
You're
Bruce,
welcome.
I'm going to ask you to unmute. How are you doing tonight?
Hey, Alan, can you hear me?
I can, yeah.
Okay, great. Hey, great job, by the way, all three of you. And great corrections on what not to overdo or oversay. Fantastic, because those are really key points that you really are a winner, clearing that up for everyone. I have a question, but it doesn't have to do with the ERC. It has to do with the new mortgage capability of being able to borrow from your equity. And what are the qualifications as far as being able to make a loan based off your equity in your home? Do you have to be employed?
Yeah, no, let me stop you there. We're not doing any mortgage stuff. Okay.
Okay.
This is going to be asset-based funding strictly on commercial properties, not residential. So it won't be a mortgage, and what you were asking has nothing to do with that. It'll all be commercial only, commercial land or commercial buildings. And I really don't know much more than that, other than what David covered today, that they'll be eligible for 80% of the value of that property, as far as what they can borrow, minus whatever they owe on it, if there is a current mortgage on that commercial property. So,
Okay. Yeah, well, I'm really glad you cleared that one up for me.
hey, that's my job tonight, clearing up, just clarifying things.
Yeah. Okay. So, I guess that's pretty much all the questions. It was great on your pretending to be, different. Who's going to be who, and who's going to be the professional, and who's going to do what. But I can see it butterflies in everybody's stomach a little bit. Really, that's what actually gets the butterflies out of everybody else's stomach.
Absolutely.
And everybody the confidence to say, you know what, I don't have to be absolutely perfect. The main thing is everything's right there on the website. It's all there. The questions, the 3 questions, you pretty much just talked about that, and you clarify that, and you make sure that you're actually getting this as quick as possible to the professionals, and let the professionals handle the whole entire thing. And you'll be much better off that way, not being the professional, that you're actually going to turn it over to the professionals without any type of asset, no liability to you, as far as taking any kind of a risk and so forth, to get all your answers, questions, and everything done, and you approved, to get it approved and get it done. And then you can decide what you want to do. So,
Excellent.
which was fantastic. And I didn't know about the 18% that they could pay up front. I didn't have no clue about that.
They can, and I that's something else I usually don't cover with a client unless they get into it. When I opened that door, right, I said, how much is this going to cost me? And I always just say, we work on a contingency basis only. You pay only if we get you a refund, and only after you've gotten the refund back, but they work on a 20% contingency, just like an attorney working a big case where you don't pay them anything up front, but you pay them once you win the case. And I relate it that way. So they go, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. Right. And then, if they've got big money, I might say, if you want to pay that fee up front, they'll talk with you about a reduced fee. And I don't put a number on it because it might change. It could be more or less. So,
okay.
But yeah, Jay was spot on with that. Exactly. I just, and thank you for your comments, Bruce. When I'm doing 3-way calls with people, I want to be the expert to where I'm building confidence for the client to do business with David Allen Capital. I never position myself that I'm the expert when it comes to our funding products. I never position myself as the expert on the ERC products. But I'm there building confidence that client, so that client is comfortable moving forward with us and getting over to our professionals, as you said, Bruce, because they're the ones that have all the answers. People ask me, well, how much do you think I'm going to qualify for, and this and that? And I give them a broad range of parameters if they ask those questions. But I never try to give them a specific. I say, it could be in this range, or, based on how much you're doing per month, you'll qualify anywhere from 75 to 200%, but it could be less than that depending on how your financials look. And I always default it back to that. But I'm not an underwriter. I'm your sales front here to answer your basic questions. If you want to get the real numbers and all of that, you need to get the application submitted. And once our underwriting team has your documentation and can review everything, then they'll be able to give you the real numbers.
Beautiful.
That's how I handle every single call. So you're right on with that. Okay. Thank you, Bruce.
Good seeing you again.
Good seeing you too.
Love you all. You take care now. Bye-bye.
All right,
Thank you.
you take care as well. Okay, guys.
Hey,
Anybody-
Ellen,
any other comments before we go?
Brittany is available if you wanted to speak with her.
Okay, good. Brittany Chapman.
Hey, Miss Ellen, I'm sorry I was in a restroom.
No worries, no worries. All good. So we all are indisposed from time to time, right? Hey, listen, I don't know how much you heard, but we were doing three-way calls and doing that edification build up. And I just wanted to, as I said today on the call, guys, Brittany used me on a phone call today, trying to get a client. She didn't have the client on the phone at this time, but the lady was not willing to move forward. And she reached out to me to try to help answer some questions and get her through that hump. But Brittany's been really good at reaching out to me. She is several levels deep in my organization, but I'm one of her tools on speed dial on her phone. And she knows that if she's talking to clients and needs a third party person to help answer questions, that she can get me. She doesn't always cue me up to say, hey, I'm doing calls, because honestly, I think Brittany's doing calls a lot of times throughout the day and isn't always trying to get me to set aside time. But when she calls me, if I miss her call, what do, Brittany?
You always get back. Well, you send me a text and say you'll get back, and you always get right back to me. And I appreciate that.
Yeah, because when Brittany calls, I've got her number locked in on my cell phone. And I know when she calls me, she's calling with a client on the line. She doesn't call me to chit chat. She doesn't call me to ask a bunch of crazy questions that are covered in the training. She calls me when she's got a prospect on the line or she needs immediate help with something serious, right? So I've got her number locked in on my phone. When she calls me and I miss a call, I'll text her, call you right back, or I'll miss her. I'll hit her if I'm in a meeting, I'll hit that and she'll say, yes, I've got a client, need help. And I make it a point to get right back with her because she's actively promoting DAC to funding clients. So Brittany, can you just share with everybody the value, not about me, but the value of being able to use somebody else on the phone and having a resource to call outside of you doing this all by yourself? Does it make a difference in your ability to?
It makes a big difference. For one, like my background is sales and collections, and in collections, we called it a second talk off, so I felt like with me calling you is like, for one, I may feel like they're slipping, and I'm like, okay, I have to have them hear, Miss Ellen's voice, because, you're going to be able to articulate to them in a different way than I'm articulating, or, sometimes it's just good to hear another voice, because some people think that we're a scam. It's so many different companies out there that are scammers. They'll have call centers and everything, and they're still scammers. So it's good a lot of times for me to get you on the phone, and it seals the deal a lot of times. So it's very important.
It does. And again, it's not about me. It's not about me and my skills. Although I have I have really good third-party skills, right? It's just about the power of what I showed you guys tonight, that trust, respect triangle. Even if it's not somebody that you know, as I started that training series on, not somebody that you already know or have a relationship with, the example that Harlequin gave, that she's my customer in a restaurant. You know, the calls that Brittany starts, she's already created a relationship and may have talked to a client a couple of times, and this, or it may be a third or fourth time that she's been doing a cold call, and she's talked to them a couple of times over the past few months. And now the third time she's calling them, they're looking at funding and she's moving them over to getting them to the website. But just having a third person on the line is incredibly important. So Brittany, I appreciate you coming in and saying that just as a testimonial to the value of using somebody else. Now I want to,
No problem.
yeah, you bet. Well, one thing I want to wrap up with here is that, again, we're going to be having conversations with business owners. And if you're not comfortable with that, get comfortable with it. I remember so clearly back in the day when I was working with Domino's Pizza, corporate America, I had been promoted from store management to supervisory level, where I was over a district of 8 stores. And then the franchisee that I was working for, that I started with, we had 35 stores in the Atlanta market, that franchisee did, when I got promoted to supervisor. Shortly after getting promoted to supervisor, that franchisee sold out his 35 stores back to Domino's Pizza corporate. And that was a huge shakeup with us. So when we went from franchise back to corporate, they didn't have a spot for me in the supervisory field, because the corporation, instead of having smaller groups of 6 or 7 stores or 8 stores, their supervisors had 10 stores each. So the stores to divvy up, a couple had to step down from our supervisor role and become supervisors in training. So I ended up going from supervisor back to supervisor in training, because I was the one of 2 newest supervisors in the whole supervisor lineup that went over to the corporate team. But it didn't take long for the regional training director to be working with me and doing store tours to pull me out of that group and say, I want to pull Ellen out of the SIT program, and I want her working in the training department with us. I think she'll be a huge asset as a field trainer. So that meant that my role was going to change to working with one-on-one in the stores and hands-on with a store manager or a phone person or a driver on their individual skills. It meant that I was going to go to a bigger platform, to where now I'm going to have to do public speaking, and I'm going to have to do training classes and teach large groups of people at one time. Guys, I know y'all see me on these Zooms now and you go, man, she does this just like it's a piece of cake. But I can remember vividly how devastated I was when I learned that I was going to have to get up in front of people and talk in public. I was scared to death, but I didn't let that stop me, because it was either the only way I was going to continue doing and keeping my job was to get over my fear of public speaking. And that's the number one fear that most people have, right? So think of this as you're moving through your fear of having conversations with people. Instead of speaking to a big audience, you're just speaking one at a time, somebody that you don't know. But think of you're making a new friend when you talk to that business owner. And one of the things that, or a few of the things that I did to overcome my fear, one, I rehearsed and I knew what I was going to say, right? It would be terrifying to try to get in front of a group and not know what my presentation was. So no different for you as you're preparing to talk to a business owner. Know what your speech is, know what your presentation is, and be able to speak it with or without notes in front of you, because that's going to be the key to be fluent in your conversation with that business owner. How do you get fluent? It takes practice. So practice in front of the mirror, practice, grab a stuffed animal. But if you've got friends or family members around you, ask, say, hey, can you role play with me? I'm trying to get comfortable with what I need to be saying to business owners or what I need to be saying to people. And I really need somebody to bounce my conversations off of. Can you help me out and role play with me? And just ask someone to do that. I remember back on the role playing thing and learning, right? I remember when I was college and I decided I was going to bartending school, I still have the recipe file from all this 200 plus drinks that I had to learn every single ingredient and the proportions and the size of those drinks. I had to learn them all by heart. How did I do that? I took my boyfriend at the time and he rehearsed with me. We went back through them. He would ask me questions, and off the top of my head, I would have to recite what those ingredients were, and he would not call them out in order. So have someone maybe create some cards for yourself and do ERC and put some of the points on it and have those where you're doing the flashcards in your training and have someone ask you, well, what's the ERC? What are the qualifications? And those type questions that you just practice as if you're studying for an exam. Because guys, DAC and this business, you're going through an education here and you're schooling yourself, so to speak, on how this business works and the programs that we offer. But this program with DAC and this business will pay you far beyond any income that you can make working in corporate America, way beyond any income that you can make, even as a high-level CEO with some of these corporations that pay way too much money to their CEOs. I believe that each of you on here tonight have the ability to out-earn any CEO in America with what is coming our way with DAC. So get after it, create those flashcards, rehearse, and do the work. Put the work in, practicing. That way, when the opportunity comes to have that out of the blue conversation that turned into a $6,750 commission to me for that first funding, or that out of the blue conversation where you have someone connect with you, or they pick up your connect cards. And I thought I had mine laying there. I don't. I've got them in my car now. Your connect cards where you've laid it out and somebody calls that number because you're out spreading the good word about our programs. Be prepared, and it takes practice. And every conversation that you have, it gets a little bit easier. You'll hang up on one conversation and you'll go, man, I wish I had said this. You forgot something, right? Or they ask a question and you answer the question, and then you think about it and you're going, I wish I had answered it this way instead. That's all part of the learning curve, but you don't learn any of that without having conversations, period. So that's my input tonight. Harlequin, if you have anything as we wrap up here, or anybody else before we go, I really appreciate your attention tonight. Don't forget about tomorrow's training at 8 p.m. Eastern time. It's going to be a stellar year if you guys will take what we're teaching you and put it to work in your business.
Yeah, Ellen.
Yes.
I have your Connect card.
Yes.
So, and notice that she gave it to me this way. She folded it in half. So you can hand them the ERC side first, or you can fold it the other
Hold
way.
it in front of the camera. Hold it up. It's not in front of the camera.
Oh, so you can fold it so the funding is what they see first, or where they can see the ERC first. So, but one thing that I would suggest, if you have a client on the phone and you're going to be calling one of us, if we don't answer the phone right away, send us a text message so that, we might be on another call with, say it's another agent and we're just doing some training with them. If we, send a text and say, hey, I have a client on the line. Are you able to become available? So that way, like we might be in a meeting or something, we might be able to step out to answer a client call.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
Yeah, that way we can prioritize things, and clients take preference, So anyways, yeah.
Awesome. I see, I have Zoom user with a hand up, so I'm going to ask you to unmute.
Hello, ladies. This is Darcel Woods. I was just wondering, how long do it actually take to receive your Connect cards?
Oh, they're quick. They're less than a week.
Really? Okay, great, great.
Yep.
Well, I've been attending the training. I'm ready to get started. Jump in.
Awesome. Let's do
I
this.
believe you have to learn a little bit, and I think I've got enough notes and enough cards that I'm ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, absolutely. And you do have to learn a little bit, right? You don't want to go
Yes.
out and start talking day one right after you get your links. You want to go through the training, but that point is don't always stay in training. Go through
Right.
the training and then start getting out on the field and having the conversations. Darcel, thanks for asking the question, and
Thank you.
make sure always encourage everybody to use a domain name instead of your long name on the David Allen Capital link. So if you don't know about that, go to my domain training in my emails. Or you
Okay.
can send me an email and I can help you with that. One other thing,
sounds
guys,
good.
I'm glad you asked that question, because that brought up this thought on our web pages. It is as important or more important than it's ever been that you are using the links as we train. You know, when the page loads in your browser, and I've got a slide I want to pop up real quick here. Give me a second to pull this, because I had put together a website training, and I've got to wait until tomorrow night to finish it. But I'm gonna do a series of short videos, and have it in a showcase so you guys can go in and watch whatever piece of it you need to see.
Yeah, Ellen, if you can turn your video off for just a second and then turn it back on, because you're all messed up.
Okay, let's see. All right, I've got it up here. It's taking a minute to load. Okay, I'm going to go through these slides real quick on the website. Let me get back
It's
up
not
here.
showing up on the screen.
I know I haven't done screen share yet. I was getting to the right slides. Okay. And this is a basic function of your website that you need to absolutely be crystal clear on, especially with David's announcement today that we're going to be moving to a different software provider for our website and our back office. Okay. So here's what you need to know. Your referral link, we always have taught that you go to davidallencapital.com/ your ID number, or if you signed up after the first of the year with our new system, you had the opportunity to create a URL name, right? Whichever it is, your link needs to be / just your ID number or / your URL name, okay? Not all the additional characters that get added in. So in this example, I'm showing the business capital link and how it should look when you share it. So it would be davidallencapital.com / business capital / just your ID number or URL name. Okay. Now, once you send that link out, when someone clicks on your link and the web page loads in the browser, it adds additional $, equal, etc., and some additional characters. That's automatically going to be added to the link. That is a normal part of the site function, and that is what replicates your agent info on every link they click on your site. But here's the problem, okay? Those extra characters, if you are copying and sending that out as your link, you may very well have links that are not going to work when we move over to the new provider, because these additional characters that we're seeing with this particular web host are different than the additional characters that we had when we were partnered with Longevity. Okay. I know for a couple of days in the interim, back on January 3rd or 4th, I sent out a training and said, just copy the link here and it'll make the page work. That was in the interim for 2 or 3 days only, so that all of your pages work. Our replication feature is built now just with agent ID or URL. So when you load a page and these additional characters are in there, do not copy from the browser. You would want to go in and put a / in right here, right before your ID, and backspace out to the last letter of the L in this particular link. Okay. And I just wanted to bring this up and point it out so that as you're sending out stuff, or Darcel, your question about printing the business cards, using a domain name is your 1000% safest, best bet on this. If you make a mistake on the redirect on a domain name, it's real easy to fix that. If you send out a link or post it on a social media page and you've copied it from the browser and it has these additional characters, there may be a point in time where it doesn't work. David said today that with the new provider, he's making sure that they're going to be able to do / your ID or / your URL name that you've already created. So whatever your established link is now with DAC, either ID or URL name, those are going to work with the new provider. Okay. So glad I had an opportunity to point that out before we wrap up. And now I've got Bruce's hand back up. Hey, Bruce, what else do you have?
Yeah, hi, Helen. Actually, I'd like to get Harlequin's telephone number as a secondary emergency, and just in case you're doing a limousine pickup, or you're in the middle of a drive and you're going to be maybe an hour, but yet maybe the restaurant owner doesn't have that hour. Maybe they have a 20-minute window. If they have, I definitely would need another telephone to get in contact with. So I would love to have Harlequin's telephone number text over to me if you could do that. And also, you talk about actually having to be a public speaker and have butterflies in your stomach. Okay. I mean, when I got hired at the hospital, Kaiser Permanente, they gave me 2 weeks to learn 3 feet of books, 3 feet deep. And I had to know everything like it was yesterday. And then they put me in front of an audience of 150. And I'm like, holy cow. And they're going, okay, Bruce, you ready to speak? And I'm like, oh my God, you talk about butterflies in the stomach? Yeah, I've been there. And then also they did that to me when I went to work for Aflac, the DAC. All right, same thing. All right, all of a sudden, oh, you're going to be talking to 100 people every hour. Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
You know, so yeah, I know what it feels like to actually have a little butterflies here and there, but you got to realize you got plenty of time to learn what we're going to show you and teach you. And, you know, you've got professionals, right, that actually now you don't have to be the speaker. Let Alan Winn be the speaker.
That's right. Well, thank you, Bruce. I appreciate that. And
all right.
One other comment on that before I get to the Harlequin thing is when you get asked a question that you don't know the answer to and you can't get your expert on the line, you go, that is a great question. And I don't know the answer to that. And I don't want to give you wrong information. Let me look into that and I'll get back with you. And that's always a great response if you can't. So Bruce, I would love to share Harlequin's number, but you're not on Harlequin's team. And I know she has to allot time to work with her organization. I certainly wouldn't give it out publicly, but you and I can talk offline about, you know, getting queued up with me if you're going to be doing calls like that. I shouldn't go an hour to where I'm not going to be able to answer a call if you'll send that text, like Harlequin said. If you call me and can't get me and it goes to voicemail, send me a text message that you've got a client on the line, and I will do everything in my power to be able to call you back to make that happen. Okay.
That's
all
fine.
right.
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
Okay,
so
great.
much.
Thank you. And I'm going to go to James Doswell. Hey, James, how are you tonight?
Hey, hello, everybody. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
I see everybody's got smiles going on with all the things that are happening. It's wonderful. Can you bring back up that last screen share that you did, the one that had all three of the little additives with the,
That one?
I can't see it.
Are you seeing the screen now?
Yeah, okay. Okay, right there on the, in the middle where that red circle is.
Yeah, right here. Okay.
Okay, now this might be elementary, but it's vitally important, especially when we're typing, okay? When you're doing these URL adjustments, you have to be meticulously specific. This is what I mean. If you have that particular URL right there, and like Ellen said, right in front of the one, you put the slash, and then you backspace over to the L right there, okay? You have to be absolutely certain that there is no space between the L and the slash, because when the browser reads it to the browser, that's a character. So you have to be absolutely certain that there is no space in between. Okay, now, most of the time when we're pulling a URL, if we click, okay, past the 9 right there at the end, do that, put the pointer down. Okay, if we click past there, this whole URL will highlight. Then we just right click our mouse, okay, and paste it wherever we want to paste it, okay? Now, just to be sure that you don't mess up, sometimes when you paste it somewhere else, there will be a space at the end of that 9. And there could be a space at the beginning of the HTTPS. So when you're doing that, make sure that at the end of the 9, the cursor is blinking right there, that there isn't a space, because if there's a space at the end, it's not going to work. Now, on your keyboard, you got these 2 buttons. One says in, the other one says home. When you paste these in other places, other address bars, in emails, whatever you're doing, okay? When you push the in button, the cursor is going to be blinking right at the end of that 9. When you press the home button, it'll be blinking right at the end of the H. That way, you know that it's a good pace and that it will work. So I just wanted to share that, because it's really easy to be doing stuff and you're working real fast and you don't see that little bit of space in there, because depending on how you got your mouse, depending on how you got your cursor, the speed of it, this and that, it might look like there isn't a space, but there is. And the way we got this thing set up, if we got any kind of problem with the wrong, just one character, it won't be doing what we wanted to do. I just wanted to
That's
share
exactly right. Yep. Thank you, James. And I think you just taught me something new. I'm going to have to go back and play with what you just said. But again, that's one of those really deep dives, and I like the high level view. So in my case, I would just encourage you guys, once you backspace those characters out, highlight and have that ready to go send, and go paste it in a new browser window, load it, hit enter, and make sure it goes where you want it to go. That way you're
Exactly.
testing it. But yeah, those are great pointers, James, and very spot on. That extra space can create a disaster and go to a page not found.
Exactly. Are we through with all the serious stuff?
We are.
Okay. You know me, okay, I could always find something to laugh about, right? Okay. You told your story about your initial funding, right? The first time I heard that, I pretty much heard it the same way that you just described it, okay? But the thing that sticks in my mind is both times you said that you were living in a 2-story place. So if everybody can imagine this, Ellen's at home, chilling at the crib, all right, doing whatever, her cell phone rings. Turns out it's a potential client. Now, if you can imagine, if you know what Mickey Mouse house shoes are, She's running up the stairs, okay, with a Mickey Mouse house shoes, those ears flapping on the side, okay, trying to get to her computer so that she can bring up the website, okay. Okay, that's the picture that I had. That's the
You
picture I
can-
had in my mind the first time she said that. It's still funny to me, okay, all this time later.
Well, thank you for putting that in everybody else's mind too, James. So I told y'all I had that check. There it is. There's my check from that first commission, $6,750 on May 20th of 2019. This is not an income claim. This is income that I personally earned, and I'm just verifying that amount that I was sharing with you earlier. It only came because I was willing to talk to the customer.
Show off.
Me and my Mickey Mouse ears. Yeah, you don't pay for that one, buddy.
Yeah, well,
All right,
and-
I've got another hand
Ellen?
raised here.
yeah,
Yes.
Ellen, and I ended up signing up on May 31st because I heard about that check.
Yeah, amen. All right, I've got, is it Nana? Ask you
Yeah,
to
right.
unmute.
You said it right. Yeah. Hi,
Awesome.
everybody.
Hello.
Thank you so much for everything, Ellen. I'm new. I'm very new over here. And what do I do?
What do you do? Well, have you received your welcome letter from David Allen Capital? And did you get my welcome email yet?
I have to check.
Okay. Sounds like you may have just signed up right before you got on the Zoom, which is fine if you did.
No, I did. I think I did. Yeah, I signed up on Saturday, and I've gone over there. I was having problem signing up. I think that was the same thing that was going on, that it was just clarified. But I was able to go to the website and read a little bit about what is going on. I think I have idea about whatever is going on because
so-
I'm in the accounting field. But but I just want to ask if there's any process or anything that I need to do special as a
Yes.
new.
Yes, as a brand new agent, you need to go to your David Allen Capital site, go all the way
Mhm.
down to the bottom of the page, and in the
The
footer,
resource.
you're going to see the Agent Resource Center. Mhm.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And when you get to the Agent Resource Center, there's a wealth of information there. So you need to specifically go to the Getting Started page of the Agent Resource Center. And on the Getting Started page, you're going to have our funding training video. You're going to have the employee retention credit video, and you're going to have compensation video as well as a PDF document. The compensation right now is only going through what you earn on your personal clients. David is launching a new enhanced, improved residual plan, and that's going to be posted here shortly once he has it all locked in, along with our new back office provider. And then underneath those videos, there are a couple of quick reference guides, one for the funding and one for the employee retention credit. You want to print those out and have those as reference tools. Read over those. Part of your practicing, as we talked about scripts earlier, I'd encourage you to read through those over and over again until, or use those as your flashcard, as I described, so that you really are getting that information to sink in on what the requirements are and what the basic parameters are on each of the funding programs that we offer. And then on down on that page, you're going to see links over to the David Capital Agent Resource Center. Facebook group, our YouTube channel, the calendar of events, and where you sign up for your pay card through Relevate. You want to make sure that you're on your replicated site where it shows your name at the top of the page. Click on that, go through and get your pay card filled out so that when you earn your first commission, you'll already have that account set up and ready for David to do a direct deposit. But that's the basics, and then start plugging in. the calendar of events shows when we do our Zooms. We do one on Monday and Friday every week at 11:30 Eastern time at DAC Zoom. And I announced at the beginning of this call, tomorrow night, we have a special training at 8 p.m. Eastern time at daczoom.com. And that's going to be launching 3 new funding products. Just so you guys know, all of our offices are on the East Coast. So anytime we talk about times, they're going to be in Eastern Standard Time, right? So the home office is in Michigan and our funding office for Bank Breezy is in Greenville, South Carolina. And I and Harlequin both are here in the Atlanta market in Georgia. So hope that answers your questions. Welcome to the team. We're glad you're here tonight. I love your profile picture. You look very sharp in your coat and tie there in that picture, Nana.
All right, thank you very much. So you said I need to register for the card. What is the name of the card again?
Yeah, your pay card. It's called Relevate, and it's on that getting started page of the Agent Resource Center. You'll just click on that, follow the instructions. It instructs you what to do, but that's how we get paid. That you're actually setting up a bank account. And if you signed up under your name and your social security number, that's how you create the bank account. If you signed up as a business entity using an EIN number, then you'll set that account up that same way. One other thing, make sure you use the same email address on your Relevate account as you used when you signed up with DAC.
Already. All right. Thank you very much. And
you're welcome. You're welcome.
The times of the meetings, where can we find it?
That's on the calendar of events there on the Getting Started page of the Agent Resource Center.
Okay. All right. Good.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right. You're welcome. Thanks for the questions. All right, guys. I'm going to wrap up now. Nothing added to the chat there, Harlequin, that needs to be covered.
No,
Okay.
nothing that I see.
Awesome. All right, guys, y'all been great. Very attentive, and I appreciate all the questions. This may be a record for the length of Zooms that we have held, but all good stuff. So thank you very much. We'll see you guys tomorrow night on our Tuesday training, 8 p.m. Eastern, daczoom.com. Come with a notepad and ready to learn about 3 new funding products. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night, everybody. Good night.